All right, today we're diving deep into the heart of the AI universe. We're going to be your guide to a place called Hugging Face. Think of it as an explorer's map to this wild new digital world. So let's get started. But first, just think about this for a second. What if all the most powerful AI in the world wasn't locked up in some secret corporate lab? What if it was more like a public library? Where anyone could just walk in, grab a tool off the shelf, and start building something amazing. Just hang on to that thought. Because honestly, that's the best way to wrap your head around Hugging Face. It's not really a company in the traditional sense. It's more like a destination. It's this huge, bustling digital hub where the entire global AI community hangs out to share their work, build new things, and just collaborate. So what is it really? Well, at its core, it's a massive, and I mean massive collection of AI models. These are the engines, right? They're the things that power everything from the chatbot you were just talking to the app that generates images. It's basically ground zero for anyone building the next wave of tech. Okay, to really get a feel for this place, we got to put on our explorer hats. We're going to take a tour through these different digital biomes and meet some of the incredible AI species that live there. And our first stop is the scribes. Yeah, these are the models that are absolute masters of language. They can write, they can code, they can summarize a 10-page document in a paragraph, you name it. These are the foundation for pretty much all the large language models that you hear about constantly. And right off the bat, you can just see the insane variety. You've got absolute giants like OpenAI's 20 billion parameter model, and right next to it, you've got these smaller, super efficient models from Google. But what I think is really cool is seeing community projects like Jan V1 pop up. It just proves that this isn't only a game for the big tech companies. Okay, let's wander over to the next biome. In this one, the models don't just work with words, they work with sight. These are the visionaries. They're the artists of the AI world. They can spin up these incredible images from just a few words, or edit your photos, or even start creating video. And what's wild here is how specialized they get. You'll see the same creator release one model just for creating images from scratch, and then a totally different one just for editing them. And then you've got others who are pushing it even further, going from static images to actually generating video. The pace is just incredible. All right, our final stop on this little expedition brings us to the orators. These are the AIs with a really, really good ear. They specialize in all things audio and speech. Think transcription services, voice assistants. This is the tech that powers all of that. And yep, you're going to see some familiar names in this space too. A giant like NVIDIA is a huge player here. They've got models like Canary and Parakeet that are constantly getting better and better at understanding human speech. This is the tech that makes your phone's voice assistant actually useful. Okay, so we've met some of the local wildlife, so to speak, but any good explorer needs a field guide, right? You gotta know how to read the signs. So let's break down some of the key stats you'll find for every single model on the hub. First thing you're going to see everywhere is this word parameters. The numbers go from millions to, well, hundreds of billions. The easiest way to think about it is like the model's brain size. More parameters usually means it's more complex, more capable, but it also means it needs a lot more horsepower to run. And the scale here is it's mind-boggling. You've got a model from Google with about 250 million parameters, which sounds massive, right? But then you look over at OpenAI's model, and it's at 120 billion. This massive range means there's a tool for literally any job, from something small and fast to an absolute powerhouse. Next up, monthly downloads. Now, this one's super simple, but it tells you so much. It's basically a popularity contest. It shows you what the community is actually using and building with right now. It's like feeling the pulse of the entire ecosystem. And again, the numbers are just huge. I mean, look at this. A single popular model can get downloaded more than 3.5 million times in 1 month. That's millions of projects getting started, millions of developers grabbing a tool and saying, okay, what can I build with this? Which, of course, brings up a really important question. Who are the people in this digital world? Who's actually building all this stuff? Well, the answer is probably a lot more diverse than you guess. It's actually a super healthy mix. Of course, the big tech giants like Google and NVIDIA have a huge piece of the pie, but they are definitely not the whole story. You've got this whole thriving scene of startups, plus a really dedicated group of university labs and open source teams, all contributing. And what you get is this really cool dynamic. On one hand, you have the titans, right? They're building these massive foundational models that can do almost anything. But then you have the specialists. These are the smaller, scrappy teams creating these highly tuned models that do one specific thing incredibly well, whether it's generating anime art or reading text from a scanned document. So let's zoom out. Why does any of this matter? What's the big deal about having one central place like this? Well, it creates this incredibly powerful thing called an ecosystem effect. Look, it really boils down to this. When you make powerful tools available to everyone, you democratize the future. It means you don't need $1 billion research lab to start experimenting. A huge breakthrough from a giant company can get picked up by a student in their dorm room the very next day. That just sparks this explosion of innovation, and it makes the entire field move so much faster and in a much more open way. So at the end of the day, Hugging Face isn't just some big list of AI models. You have to think of it more like the global workshop. It's the messy, exciting, collaborative garage where the future of AI is literally being built, right now, by people from all over the world. And that kind of leaves us with one final massive question to chew on. When you take a technology this powerful and make it open for absolutely everyone to build with, what kind of amazing, unpredictable, and world-changing things are we all going to create next? Thanks for joining this explainer.